So here's a cool fact. Over 7 in 10 Americans now live somewhere where cannabis has been legalized in some form.
Wow, man.
Alright, so then quick question. Weed is pretty much legal now, right? Wrong. False. And here is why. For starters, even if every single state and territory in the union decides to join the Puff Puff Pass circle, that still would not make pot 100% legal. Welcome to American government.
How can I explain this to you differently?
And if you didn't sleep your way through that class, you'll remember that we've got government at multiple levels, local, state, and federal. Right now, legalization of marijuana is only happening at those first 2 levels. As it stands right now, marijuana remains illegal and classified as a Schedule I drug under the Controlled Substances Act of 1970.
Damn!
Under that law, the DEA classifies a number of drugs under a 5-tiered scale, with a drug being put on the scale if it is deemed as having the potential for abuse.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Schedule 5 drugs are the ones deemed to have a medical benefit and the lowest risk of abuse. These are drugs like cough syrup and certain antidiarrheal medicine. At Schedule 4, we have stuff like Xanax, Valium, Ambien, all of which the DEA claims still have a low risk of abuse. Yeah, sure, Jan. Next, at Schedule 3, we have drugs like ketamine, steroids, and testosterone. Then at Schedule 2, we start flirting with danger with the likes of Adderall, oxycodone, fentanyl, and get this, cocaine and methamphetamines. And then at the top of the heap, we have the drugs that the DEA claims are both dangerous and have zero medical benefit. Those are cannabis, heroin, MDMA or Molly, LSD, and peyote. What remains a mystery is which drugs they were on when they classified meth and cocaine as somehow being less dangerous than pot.
Better get your ass off your shoulders.
But nevertheless, that means you are still committing a federal crime that people are still in jail for every time you light up. And worse yet, the DEA imposes strict limits on even studying Schedule I drugs to see if there really is no benefit to them, despite there being plenty of studies out there pointing towards the efficacy of pot and other drugs in treating a myriad of conditions from chronic pain to insomnia to severe PTSD and trauma.
If you ever need a guinea pig, let me know, My grandfather was in the Tuskegee experiments.
Okay, so then if pot is illegal, why doesn't the DEA just start raiding dispensaries and shutting them down? Here's the scary part. They technically could if they really wanted to. Thankfully, most policing takes place at the state and local level, thanks to a little piece of paper we call the US Constitution. But the real thing keeping federal agents away from your local dispensary is a directive issued by the Department of Justice in 2013, which stated that they would not be prosecuting activity that abided strictly by state laws.
Take what? Take it.
But all it would take is for one president to reverse that policy and things would slide all the way back. And let's face it, the only reason certain presidents haven't done it is because doing so would be super unpopular. And that's why a lot of cannabis businesses have trouble finding banks who are even willing to take their money and assume that risk. Also, they can't claim the same tax exemptions that other businesses can. So, the same federal government that refuses to legalize their product is also taxing them at a much higher rate. To paraphrase the opinion of virtually every cannabis expert out there, that's some old bullshit. Okay, so then how do we fix this? At the ballot box? Well, that may not do the trick. Take Florida, for example, even though most of us try not to. They legalized medical cannabis in 2016, and activists were gathering signatures to put an amendment on the ballot that would legalize recreational use. And even though the amendment easily gathered enough signatures, it was struck down by their Supreme Court earlier this year, who ruled that its wording was misleading because marijuana would still be illegal under federal law. Then we have Idaho, whose state legislature almost passed a law earlier this year preemptively banning any attempts to legalize marijuana or any other Schedule I or II drug. I'm gonna let you take one wild guess as to which party all those idiots belong to.
It's like Lenin said, you look for the person who will benefit and,
And even on the federal level, the House of Representatives passed a bill late last year that would at least decriminalize marijuana on a federal level and do away with some of that confusion. Except now that bill is in the Senate, where all manner of smart, popular, beneficial bills all go to die. mostly at the hands of these three assholes. And we haven't even touched on the fact that drug enforcement over the decades has done little to decrease usage of those substances, but instead has been a great proxy war to terrorize, incarcerate, and decimate black and brown communities across the nation.
What we do in this life echoes in eternity!
So if you want to be able to light up in peace, then you'd better consider putting down that J and picking up your phone to pressure your state and federal representatives to quit it with the bullshit and the racist scare tactics and enact drug policy that's actually based in reality. And after that, here's a little something for you to watch while you blaze. If there's any topic out there that's got you scratching your head and you're too scared to ask, you should totally send it our way. Tweet using the hashtag #QuickQuestion or email us at questions@brainjoltmedia.com. Don't forget to follow us, and remember, quick questions don't always have quick answers.